So I apologize. We are live on Facebook right now. This is being recorded, and we will put this up on our website. So anybody that got the wrong link and still wants to review this will have the opportunity. So we just went through our networking session, a little bit different networking tonight with the open forum instead of our typical breakout sessions. Can everybody see the screen I'm sharing right now?
Yes.
All right, great. So I'm going to try to run through the sponsors. Always want to give tribute to Gene Garino, who was the gentleman that got me involved in this. And he has been had been a real staple in this industry. And because of him, a lot of people are in this industry and a lot of people are being taken care of. So unfortunately, we lost him a couple of years ago, but we always like to remember him. Our website is DAALR.com, which stands for Denver Association of Assisted Living Residences. And we've got a lot of great information on there. Current deals, which we have not updated recently, is the Assisted Living for Sale. Get funding. This is for our lease option program. And of course, you can contact us through that page as well. If you're local here in Colorado, there are some key links that you should pay attention to, particularly these first two links right here, Chapter 7 and Chapter 2. These are very important if you operate in Colorado. Those are the rules and regulations that you must know in order to operate your business here in Colorado. We have our Facebook page, Denver ALR. We're currently broadcasting this on Facebook, so it will be there available for you to look at later on. We do have the meetup page. We appreciate people signing in. It gives us an idea of what to expect. And when we're live, it gives us an idea of how many people are going to attend, because we usually do it in a restaurant. Sponsors, I'm going to run through our sponsors real quick here. Let's see here. First, you just heard from Les. Les, do you have anything you want to add to what you just told us about this?
Well, like I said, anybody want to text me, I'll be glad to send them a short video by Dr. DeBoard and explain in full detail.
Okay, and you can see Les's website there, wellnesstechplus.com. And Les is one of our new sponsors. Thank you for your support, Les.
You bet.
Another new sponsor that we have is Hall Ryan Construction. I spoke with Chad earlier today. He couldn't make it because he's busy moving tonight, actually. But he did want me to let everybody know that right now they're doing a lot of roofs. There's been a lot of hailstorms that have gone through Denver recently. So if you are one of those victims, and I actually had two houses that need roofs, one of them we just replaced, and the other one I'll have Chad come out and give us a quote on. But hallryanconstruction.com is his website. So please reach out if you do need a roof here in the Denver metro area. Palm University, Brett Chuckhevitt. I butcher Brett's last name all the time, so I don't think I should even try to pronounce it. Anyway, Brett's got some really good programs on growing your assisted living. So if you were to go to Palm University and join his program, he's got a ton of video content on there. I've been through a lot of that stuff, and it's very, very, very valuable. If you operate right now, then that's a great place to go and learn how to sharpen the saw, so to speak. The RAL National Association. This is a great association. This is really, if you're in this industry or want to be in this industry, this is your national reach. So if you go to ralna.com and join up, and if you're a Denver ALR member, then you do get some benefits from that as well. Assisted living marketing. And we do have Peter here. So Peter, would you like to chat a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, I mentioned before, we do a lot of websites and branding, logo design for assisted living. And I wanted to mention, if anybody is using Google Analytics on your website, Google is shutting down the old analytics, and you got to have the new analytics set up. If you need help with that, reach out. We'll do that for you for free and help you out with that. But if you need anything digital marketing, we can help you out. And print too. We do business cards, brochures, all that.
Fantastic. Thank you, Peter. And Peter's also done the websites for Dollar and our Grand Avenue Brokers, and he's done it for another business that we have. So I appreciate working with you, Peter. All right, next. We have Pinkowski Law, and Pinkowski Law specializes in assisted living. I'm sorry about that. Fran got kicked out and is having trouble getting back in. So I will text her in a minute. So Pinkowski Law specializes in assisted living, and they've been instrumental, especially here in Colorado, to helping us fight some of these crazy rules that they've come up with. But not only Colorado, they also work nationwide. They're very good, particularly if you're looking to increase your bed count and fight HOAs. They're very knowledgeable about the fair housing laws. So PinkowskiLaw.com is where you would go to chat with them. And I am missing the logo here for RAL Academy, but if you're just getting started in assisted living, you want to go to RALacademy.com. And this is a great place to get your feet wet and understand what this business is all about. They do have some good programs. So again, if you're getting started in assisted living, the RALacademy.com is where we recommend. And lease options for group homes, well, that's ABW. And for some reason, all my logos are absent here, but this is who I represent is Grand Avenue Brokers at A Better Way Realty, and we have A Better Way Funding. We are business brokers at Grand Avenue Brokers, so we help people buy and sell assisted livings. And if you're looking for a different source of funding, then we do lease options. We actually come in, buy the property, lease it back to the operators, and they have an option to buy that property from us in the future. So it's a good alternative to SBA or conventional funding. And recent activity, right now we've got 40 beds under contract in Idaho. We've got 86 beds available in Eastern Colorado, 16 beds available in North Metro. We just finished up a couple of purchases, 40 beds south of Denver, 25 beds south of Denver, and we've got 32 beds south of Denver that we are in process with. And news from Cala, and again, all my logos are gone. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe so
No worries. I can speak for Cala tonight. The one thing I want to mention is our Collaboration and Aging Conference, which is a joint conference between Cala, Colorado Placement and Referral Alliance, and the Mavericks of Senior Living. This is a large conference. It's going to be down at the Colorado Convention Center. And I'll just put a link in there. It's 2 full days, lots of collaboration and education and panels and interactive sessions. It's very different from a lot of conferences. You're going to get a ton out of it. So check that out.
Yeah. Oh my God.
All right. Thanks, Peter. Okay, let's see where we're going here. All right.
You better not.
So I lost my screen sharing, but I think at this point in time, I can turn over the screen sharing to Kim. I first met Kim and Stacy, oh gosh, it was 2 or 3 years ago at a conference that they were giving. And I found what they were talking about was, first, it was kind of mind numbing because I didn't understand it. And I think a lot of people probably go through that. But once I started to understand it a little bit, it really made a lot of sense. And I've actually referred a couple of people over to them. They've been very helpful. And I really wanted to, I attended Kim's class last month and thought this would be beneficial to the group. So I asked her to present it. I think she's giving us a shortened version of it. But Kim, if you want to take over, and let's all give Kim a round of applause.
Hey. Thanks everyone for having us. So I am Kim Searles, the Director of Education for Beneficent, but I also have with me Stacy Osborne. She's the owner of Beneficent. So we're just going to kind of tag team it here. Would love to answer your questions as we go through it. like Vern said, I did shorten this a little bit for those of you that are in the state of Colorado. If you would like to take the full version of this class, you're welcome to go on our website, doinggoodforothers.com, which, by the way, the word beneficent, that's what it means, doing good for others. So that's your word for the day, is beneficent. So think of the word Maleficent, right, that movie. So that's the evil side, we are the good side. So, but you can find us on there if you want to take that full class. So tonight, we're going to share with you how to fill your beds using Medicaid, long-term care, Medicaid as a payer source, or how to qualify for PACE or Innovage. So, and by the way, I do want to say that everything that we're talking about this evening, we are talking about the rules and regulations and guidelines for the state of Colorado. Every state has different rules. So you can always call our office, and at the end, I'll give you our phone number, contact information, and we can give you a city. If you give us a city and zip code, we can tell you who does what we do in your state.
What?
So Olivia, you might want to mute your, oh, someone did it for you. Okay, thanks, Vern. All right, so I'm sure you run into clients that are overwhelmed with how they're going to pay for long-term care. So we're going to talk about that. And we want to make sure that as business owners, that you guys get paid as well. Okay, what does that look like? We'll talk about it. So we are long-term care educators. So I've said already that we serve the whole state of Colorado. So that includes some of those rural areas throughout the state. So here in the state of Colorado, there's over 40 different Medicaid programs. That's a lot. So I'm going to kind of make this a little interactive. So when I say the word Medicaid, when I say that, do you guys think of people with money or without?
Without.
Without.
Yes, without. Les, what did you say?
It depends on if they have money, then they've got it hidden, but they can have both.
Okay, we're going to talk about that. Okay, yep. All right, there is ways. So we're going to talk about that. Okay, so remember that there's over 40 different Medicaid programs. So now there's the MAGI insurance-based low-income Medicaid. That's not the program that I'm talking about tonight. So out of over the 40 different Medicaid programs, I'm only going to talk about the one that would cover the long-term care options. So here on your screen, you can see that the long-term care Medicaid and the VA aid attendance program. So those are the two programs I'm going to talk about tonight. Those are the only two programs that will help pay for senior care that includes non-medical. So if they're still at their home, we can help them get qualified for non-medical or assisted living, full skill care, memory care, or even adult daycare. And then down below there, you can see our team. So, all right. I had mentioned earlier, we were talking a little bit about Beneficent, and I just want you guys to have some confidence in partnering and working with us so we can assist you. So a few things about us is that we want to help with the spend down process. We want to make it so that clients, that they do that well. We have over 100 5-star reviews on both the Better Business Bureau as well as Google. So go check us out there. We have over 100% application success. So think about all those clients. Well, you guys tell me, do you have clients that you've run into that said, oh, I've tried to qualify for that, but I don't qualify? Have you heard people say that to you? Or sometimes people think of it like a status thing and they're like, oh, I don't qualify for that, right? Thinking that it's low income. So Beneficent, we've been able to assist over 3,000 families just to qualify for these benefits. But we are certified Medicaid planners. Is anybody familiar with that? Has anybody heard of that before? A CMP.
Yes, I have, but again, I don't remember all the details. I used to be in the financial. And so,
Okay.
and long-term care actually under GE Capital. And so I remember some of it, but it's been over 15 years.
Okay, all right. So I like to relate this to use an example of your taxes, right? You can do your taxes, you can have your neighbor do your taxes, or you can go to a CPA. That CPA specializes and knows all those rules and regulations and the guidelines and the exceptions to the rules in order to help you get the best bang for your buck, right? So in this world of Medicaid, as you probably all know, it's very complicated. So there's over 167 pages of rules and regulations and guidelines, and there's lots of exceptions to those rules. So we are certified Medicaid planners. This means that we have to take a national exam and be qualified in order to have that title. But it just kind of gives you just knowing that we know what it is that we're talking about. So we want to be able to help the assisted living communities to be able to get paid, to fill the beds that you have, whether that means some private pay money coming in or long-term care Medicaid, the PACE program, or Innovage, all of those different ways. And by the way, if your clients were to get qualified for long-term care Medicaid, that means now that they would now be qualified to enter into the PACE or Innovage program. Okay, so we would be helping them to get qualified for the long-term care Medicaid. The difference is if Beneficent helps you, I'm going to show you a case study in a few minutes where if we were to help the clients and they have a, let's just say, a substantial portfolio, they think they make too much or have too much to qualify, we would be helping them to put it in financial order so that they can enter in to the PACE program a whole lot sooner instead of spending everything that they worked so hard for with their portfolio. So we want to help to use the cash to help pay for the assisted living and take care of their hard assets like their homes, their cars, and other things that they don't want to sell and put them in financial order so that they can qualify for care. Okay, so the PACE or Innovage program, we can help your clients to get qualified. Like I said, even if they think they make too much or they have too much. I want to talk just briefly about the difference between Medicare and Medicaid, because so many people get that confused. You guys may already know this, so forgive me if you already know, but so let me just ask you a question. After 20 days in a hospital or a rehab setting, if someone has Medicare, what happens?
There's 10 different areas that they check them every day to determine if they no longer need Medicare, and then it goes chronic care. I mean,
Okay.
not chronic, but long-term.
Okay. So, and after that 20 days is up, then the client has to start paying their copay.
Right.
So I've heard some people say, oh, that's when they kick you out, right? No, they don't necessarily kick you out, but you have to pay your copay, right? And so since the clients need to start paying some money at that point, that's when they really start to panic and start to worry, how am I going to pay for this, right? Mom has to leave the hospital and they're telling mom, yes, she needs to go into assisted living, but she doesn't know financially, how do we put everything in order so that she can get that paid for, right? Or she needs to privately pay. How long does she need to privately pay? What does that look like? Okay, so really 20 days, that is not enough time for them to get stronger. So it's so beneficial for them to go into one of your assisted living communities in order to get stronger. So very helpful. If you have contacts, by the way, especially those that are in the state of Colorado, but I guess for any state, if you have contacts with social workers or case managers in the hospital setting, then it would be good for them to know about these programs. All right, so let's do a case study so we can kind of dive in a little bit and use this as an example so that we can talk a little bit about it, okay? I'm going to use an example of a single person. And the reason why I'm using a single person is because the state favors marriage. And what I mean by that is if we have a husband and a wife situation, then the state allows us to transfer everything over to the community spouse, the one that does not need the care. We can transfer everything over without penalty. And that person that needs the care can go ahead and get qualified and then enter into your assisted living. Okay, but in this case, it's a single person. So we're going to talk about Mary. So Mary is residing in an assisted living facility. She declared a home, a vehicle, a life insurance policy, and cash. Mary's home is valued at $193,000, and it is exempt. One car and one home is exempt. Mary's life insurance policy has a face value of $125,000 and a cash value of $2,000. So what that means, the face value is upon death, the beneficiary would get the $125,000. The cash value is if she was to go cash that in today, they would get $20,000, which she transferred this life insurance policy over to a family member, and we help her do that. Mary gave a cash gift of $160,000 to a family member to bring her resources down under the $2,000 limit. The penalty assessed by the state was 20 months. That's based on the cash gift and the life insurance transfer. This is a delay in payment by the state for the assisted living facility. A spend down fund account was created for $35,000, increasing her monthly income for 20 months to cover private pay in the facility. So in other words, if this was your client, you would get private pay for 20 months. The outcome of this is that Mary will continue to live in her current assisted living facility during the penalty and has the money from the spend down account to pay for this care. She may sell her home in the future and have additional spend down. Now I want to open up the floor and let's kind of talk a little bit about it. Go ahead, Stacey, do you have a thought?
Yeah, so I don't know how many people on the call even accept Medicaid, but whether your facility accepts Medicaid and PACE programs, or if they don't, it's beneficial for clients to do this type of planning. In Mary's case, if your facility doesn't accept Medicaid, what happens to Mary's family is they're thinking, oh my goodness, here's all the money we have, and we've got to make it last as long as possible. And if you've got a higher quality facility and your rate is higher than others in your market, typically that family will continue to look for a lower cost, higher value facility. When we do good planning, okay, that doesn't happen. People select the facility they'd love to be in because Mary's family just got certainty around how the money's going to work out. And certainty does great things for people. I had 4 clients today. 2 of them looked just like this. And they had told me previously that their assisted living in Colorado was going to be $10,000 a month because it was memory care. But they weren't concerned at all about paying $10,000 a month because they knew how the money was going to work out. They knew they were never going to run out. They knew when the state starts paying. And these same strategies apply in Texas, in Iowa, in New York, and you'll need a certified Medicaid planner to deliver them. Sometimes an attorney can deliver them, but most of the time attorneys will not have access to setting up these spend down accounts. They'd have to work with someone outside their industry for that. But for all you Texas people on this call, We've got an affiliate company that sets this up in Texas. So your facility gets a guarantee, in this case, of 20 months of private pay before that resident either moves to a facility with PACE or stays in your facility because you have PACE engaged. And we can talk more about maybe how you get engaged or on a PACE program in your area.
Awesome.
So I
Okay,
didn't
so
know,
go ahead,
I'm
Ren.
sorry,
Go ahead.
that the home, they can declare a home and that's, they don't have to sell their house to do this?
That's correct. So the code section in most states allow them to own a home, and it doesn't specify that they have to live there. They're allowed to own it. What's
So they can own a
required,
home
yep,
and
they
rent
can
it
own a
out
home.
and actually have an income to,
No. They
okay,
can own a home that's their primary residence, but they don't have to live there. If it's a rental, if they rent it, it loses its exemption because it's not a primary home if it's a rental. It's either one or the other. Now, a lot of families we have, what they'll do is they're not ready to sell the house. And so when you all start talking to them about you got to sell the house and you've got to get rid of this and spend down all that, you're going to see the back of their head walking out of your offices and out of your facilities. I think the way we present and come to market on what they can and can't do is extremely important. You want them to go, that's good news. I'm not ready to make a decision on the house. That house can sit and we can go ahead and get this certainty around money in order.
so I was speaking with a client the other day and they said that they had somebody in, I think it was under Innovage.
Mhm.
You know, this client charges, I think, 5,500, and Innovage doesn't pay that much, but they had a
Yep.
trust that was covering the difference. So can you apply that same type of a concept to the Medicaid and what you can set up here? So someone charges 5,500, 6,000, Medicaid pays, well, what are they, 2,700 plus the 700 of the personal payment?
Yep.
So how would you structure that?
So if I'm not sure that I fully understand what you're asking me, but if it depends on the facility, and if the facility is going to accept Medicaid, this idea of having a trust is a little bit tricky. They won't ever qualify with the trust if they're the trustee or the beneficiary of the trust. If they have control over the money in the trust in any way, or have had control in the last 5 years, that's going to be considered a gift to the trust. And so there's some specific things around trusts. Typically, we're undoing them and putting the money back in the potential residents' hands, and then we'll go through planning like this. The goal is for assisted livings to capture the private pay dollars under a penalty. The win for the family is they get certainty around the money and know that some of it is preserved. So
So
we're trying to get both on even keel.
when I look at the spend down fund account that you have here,
Mhm.
and is there a way to combine Medicaid and some of their cash to get to that 5,000 or $5,500 mark?
There is a way to do that. In fact, while we're in the spend down period, the spend down is caused by giving away money. And when we give away money, all states impose a penalty. We gave away money in the last 5 years, they impose a penalty. We did it in order to qualify for Medicaid, and we accept the penalty. They calculate it by math. And if you know the math, then you know the term of the penalty. The spend down account, it's also called a Medicaid compliant annuity, is set aside, and that's the money to privately pay the $5,500 in your example, Vern, that money is set aside to pay that. That money plus their income is enough to pay that. Okay, they have to use all their funds that are coming in every month. And so that's how that's accomplished. We move the rest of the income to the family, and they have the funds to private pay, and we have certainty around when the facility will bill Medicaid for whatever else that they can bill for.
Right, so they could maneuver that and still have a home that they could sell in the future for
Right.
when these funds run out.
Correct. And honestly, that's what happens is people are like, I don't want to make a decision on my house. I want to go back home. And we say, yeah, you might make it back home. I mean, chances are that they won't. We know that. And you guys know that because you are in the industry. But I don't want to squash their hope. Keep the house. In the future, when they come to this, I'm probably not going to move back in my home, then sell the house. Now they have a bunch of money again. We do the same thing. We set aside money in the spend down account. We tell the state where the rest of the money went, and they'll have another private pay penalty. But they're still never running out of money. We make sure it's funded for the facility cost for the facility they'd love to be in. And so the family gets super happy because they haven't had to compromise in some way. And then, you know, they're all out of sorts because the facility went up by $200 a month. I mean, we just don't have clients wrapped around the axle on that because they have this money set aside. They're still never going to run out. And it makes the process of going into assisted living from being independent much smoother and easier and a little more palatable for clients.
Sorry, I'm a little unclear here. So
I bet.
about the spend down account, because
Yeah.
according to this example, she gave away pretty much all her money, right? So she has no money. So where's the spend down fund coming from?
Well, what happened was she had cash of $195,000. So we took $35,000, put it in the spend down account, and then she gave away the cash of $160,000. So we will carve out of the cash she had in her whole bucket, and we split it into two parts. One is the gift, one is the spend down account, and you get to balance by math. You give away this much, you're going to need this much here. How do you split that account where the spend down account matches 20 months? 20 months is caused by giving this much away. So it was her money to begin with.
Right. So the $35,000 spend down account was
part of her cash. It was part of her cash. She had cash going in at $195,000.
But
Right,
you must have had a very large Social Security or something coming in to make up the rest of that, because 35,000.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yes. So some spend down accounts have got more money in them because their Social Security is smaller.
Right.
But again, a good planner will know exactly how to get that right so that we're in range on the cost of the facility. Your facility might be $8,000 a month that they want to be in. The one down the street might be $7,000. But they really want to be in your facility, but $1,000 a month seems like a lot until they know how the money's going to work out. See?
I see. So your role is basically to work with the client before they give away that cash, right? So what happens if they had already given out the cash?
If they've already given up the cash, we still know exactly what the state's going to do. We know what they will need, and in cases like that, they may you know, we'll offer options like, hey, if you don't want to sell your house, you might be able to go get an equity loan out of it to pay while you're living out the penalty. Or you may decide to sell your house. Or guess what? You could sell it to someone in your family for 70% of the assessor's value, and you won't have as much money, but your family member can then turn around and sell it for a lot of money. I mean, there's so many strategies that fit inside the rules. And we're just looking for one that families say, that one works for me.
Okay.
So that's the goal, is to get the family where they're going, wow, I'm not worried about money. I mean, a typical response when I know I've done a good job is at the end of my 1 hour time with a family, they go, wow, I feel a lot better.
Yeah, the rule might
So
be
I have
really
a
different in Washington, because I know here, so my home accept Medicaid clients too, and I know here, you know, to be qualified for Medicaid, they cannot have any home or any assets more than 2,000. So they usually have to sell their home and use that as a spend down before they
And
can
what
qualify.
state are you in?
I'm in Washington State.
Really, boy, they are strict.
Yeah.
And here's what I would say. I have people in assisted livings all the time tell me things like that are true here in Colorado, but they haven't read the code section and they just aren't true. Washington State, I'm not as familiar with, but of the many, many states that I've dealt with, I haven't found one yet that doesn't allow you to own a home. Lots of facilities here tell people you have to sell your home before you'll ever qualify. And they say it with all the authority in the world,
I see.
but
I
it's
think
incorrect.
Colorado,
Yeah.
I think Colorado, I think they say the same. I think, I mean, I have, you know, a couple of people that try to come here, I mean, to my assisted living. But, you know, some of them, they ended up giving money within the last 5 years, or they sold the money, I mean, the mom's house, and distributed among the family. And now they're going to get Medicaid, and I mean, that person doesn't qualify. So I was in, like, I had a person came in, and they said they're gonna do like about a year spend down. So I thought, okay, let's do it. And then when it came to about like 2 months before the spend down was over, Medicaid couldn't accept them.
Right. So every client you get like that, like we run into clients who've had family members take their money. All right. I'm going to take that case. We have 100% success rate. I'm going to take that case. I'm going to take it all the way to the state. We're probably going to go before an administrative law judge, and we're going to plead under undue hardship section in the code. Most people don't know about it, but we've been successful. They had a family member that stole their money, or they had somebody who wasn't a family member that stole their money. They called them, they defrauded them, they gave them the money. And those are undue hardship cases. And so we will work through those with families. The thing to do is don't assume when a family walks in and tells you something that you need to wait to apply. The sooner you apply, the sooner you find out what the penalty is going to be. Whereas if you wait until they only have 2 months of money left and then you apply and you find out now there's still a penalty. Remember, penalties don't start until you apply. So apply early, let the penalty start and run out while they still have private pay funds.
The betting
Those are-
about me, the betting about me is like, I've let them 2 months. They spend down for about 10 months, and then 2 months before it is finished, I asked them and they said they don't have enough money. And
Yeah.
later
So
I found out that they have the trust fund.
yeah.
But then the sisters were controlling it and they couldn't pay any money to me. So like almost the resident lived almost 4 months for free, like
Yeah.
$750 a month.
Yeah, we want to avoid all of that. And so the best case scenarios are ones where families just tell them, hey, there's this company that helps them preserve cash. That's what they were after anyway, right, Fran? I mean, that's what they wanted. But you've got, as an operator, you've got to know with some certainty, what do they have and not have? What are they going to be able to do and not? When does the transition happen? And how do you not float someone for 4 months? I mean, golly, how can you stay in business with that happening on a regular basis? And so we would work with you and say, here's where they are financially. This set aside money no one can get to. It automatically comes to you every month with their Social Security. So we get certainty around the time frame. The state's already told us when they're going to step in. In fact, they give us the exact day, and we set aside money that no one can access in this planning process. So you get nice and comfortable with the money's there to pay during the penalty, and I know exactly when the state's going to step in. I mean, it's tedious, good planning, but we have not had a misstep.
So that means that I think, I was trying to do it on my own. Okay, when somebody says I have to spend down like at least a year or 8 months or 10 months. Okay, not knowing that, like believing really them, I would bring in people, and then later on I found out that they have this huge money and then family took them. So I have not way of not knowing what they're, saying is true or not.
Right. And so the best thing to do is when they come in, you just say, great, we're going to go ahead and get some planning done. So we all, have a clear understanding of what you guys are going to get to preserve. I mean, something's got to be in it for a family. They're not going to come talk to us if I'm just going to tell them you spend down every dime. They're going to get to protect some, but the trade-off is you get a really happy family with a resident in your community, and we don't have all this angst over what it costs and how we're going to pay it.
Thank you.
Does anybody have
What
any
other questions? Yeah,
on
do
this
you guys
case?
have?
On this case or any other case, what other questions can we answer for you? And again, we're, go ahead.
So when will
When are
you?
you coming to Washington?
Say it again.
Say that again.
When are you coming to Washington State?
Yeah. Yes. So what we can do is,
If
Stacey,
you will email me, I'll find out about Washington State for you.
Okay, sounds
Oh,
good.
And then
There you
I'll
go.
give you the name of a certified Medicaid planner that would be good to reach out to in your state
Okay.
and get you connected so that your residents have got the right information.
All right, sounds good.
Yep. If the facility down the street tells them you got to sell that house and spend down, and they come into your place and you go, no, I think you can keep the house. Trust me, they're going to sell that house later. It can't be revenue generating. They're just not ready now.
I see.
They're going to so want to be in your facility just on that.
Okay. Yeah, that's usually what the DSHS people, telling us that they have to sell everything before they can move.
Yeah.
even here in this
Yep.
state, that's what they say. Do you
Yep.
know why?
Even in the state.
Yes, because they don't have the time or the licensing to do what we do. On average, it takes my case managers about 120 hours per case.
I see.
That's a lot of time, energy, talent, right? So you got to know those rules and regulations and the exceptions to the rules.
Got
So
So
talk
if
to your
they're
staff,
on
what do you
spend
charge?
down, sorry, we're talking at the same time. So
Go
if
ahead.
they are on spend down, roughly how long will I wait to know if they're approved or not?
Well, in Colorado, it's 45 days, okay? They're on private pay during that time, but in 45 days, the state here has to render approval or denial. And there's something like that similar. Texas is the same, about 45 days. But our average typically is about 32 days, something like that. And we're telling the Department of Human Services how long their spend down is. They're just confirming it. So a good certified planner in your state will know what the spend down period is going to be. And it's just a formality in Colorado anyway, and Texas, that you get a check mark and they say, yeah, you were right.
So the other question is, how would I put that? Never mind, somebody else go ahead, I'll think about it.
So my question is how, what's the partnership? Who is paying for your services?
The client is.
The client is. So
Yep.
we find them and then send them to you, or how does that part work?
Yeah. So typically, what the people that get sent to us, they get sent to us by facilities and rehab, all kinds of ways. But people wouldn't know about us. I don't even know what you would Google to find us, because no one thinks you can do any of this stuff. But typically, like there's a care community here, when someone comes in and they go, well, they start talking about how much it costs. The salesperson in the community says, if you want to figure out how you're going to pay for this facility and never run out of money, you'll need to call this company. They specialize in it. They do it. I'm not even sure how they do it. I just know that 100% of the time they're successful.
Oh, okay.
And
So-
again, earlier I mentioned about the Better Business Bureau or Google. Again, clients need to have some certainty around working with us. So you can refer them to go read about what other clients are saying about Beneficent. That might help them to have a better understanding about what we're doing and how we're going to do it. So, but by the time, at least with Stacy, by the time she's done with doing a free consultation between an hour to an hour and a half, they're going to know the game plan. Like in this case, they knew exactly what the game plan is. So then we can go right back to that assisted living and say, they're going to private pay for 20 months. Now, remember, this could be a client, you guys, that is doing that needs non-medical as well, non-medical home care. They could be home now because they don't need assisted living yet. We can help them get it qualified while they're home. So if someone's like planning because they know that it's something progressive that they're diagnosed with, they know they're going to need more care in the future, they're just like shopping and trying to figure it out, then certainly they can do that. And this, while they're doing that spend down, some of that would go to that non-medical company as well, right? But we can help them to get qualified for that as well. So let me see if there's anything else. Do you have, first of all, any other questions on this case?
So do you charge by the hour? Do you charge a percentage that you save them? How do you charge?
We just do a flat rate based on what has to be done in the case. So a person who has $500,000 is going to be the same price as a person that has 50,000.
Wow. At 120 hours, that's I guess impressive, but at the same time, it must not be that much if they only have 50,000 and they can afford your services.
Well, sure. I mean, typically we'll charge about equivalent of 1 month of care.
Well, is that all? Okay,
That's it.
that's affordable.
Yes, and then they're
It's
going to
super affordable. And honestly, if people don't want to pay us to do it, I'm going to give them all the forms and tell them how to do it. I mean, nobody's held hostage, right? Yeah.
I have a question about the Vet Assist program. You mentioned aid in attendance. I believe I got on a little bit late. But my question with that is, do you actually assist the vets in obtaining their benefit?
We do. So the VA has certain forms, and those are nationwide. Remember, aid and attendance is a federal program. So every state has the same rules. And unlike Medicaid and PACE and Innovage, those are state by state. And so VA aid and attendance is an excellent way if they have been a veteran or been married to a veteran to help pay for assisted living. VA usually doesn't pay enough for skilled nursing, but at the assisted living area, it's really a great way. A vet can get a couple thousand, $2,200, $2,300 a month. That plus their income is oftentimes enough to pay for care.
And typically, how long does it take, the process, or does it vary?
That's the problem with the VA, isn't it? Right? That
Yeah.
it takes usually typical is like 6 months. Sometimes it
Wow.
doesn't take that long, and sometimes it takes longer. But with VA, they come all the way back to
Oh, okay.
the day that we filed what they call the intent to file form, and they come on and pay all the way back. So 6 months down the road, the client gets a lump sum, a bunch of money, and then
Okay.
they start getting $2,200 a month.
Oh, okay.
So-
So you can actually have the client living with you, maybe paying a less, a smaller amount, knowing that they're going to receive their
That's right.
back pay. Okay. Thank you.
Assisted livings just run a balance. They're charging maybe $5,000 a month. They know the
Mhm.
client can't pay it, but when they get all that lump sum, they'll come back and clear out the previous 6 months, and then they have enough to keep and continue.
Awesome.
If your
Thank you.
cash flow can take that, it's
Yeah.
a good strategy, I think.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thanks.
So can I ask you another question? I think along something like that too, but like little different. Is that if I have a couple of, people came in and they're saying that, okay, we can stay, we will not get the Medicaid approved for maybe 2 or 3 months. So, but you will get reimbursed if you let them stay. Is that true? Or I wasn't really sure whether
Yeah,
it's true.
so the way Medicaid does it is if they didn't have any money to begin with and they file on July the 1st and they don't have an approval for 3 months, but they met all the requirements on July 1st, they'll allow the facility bill back to that day that they applied.
Okay, so what if we they're applying through spend down to Innovage or through PACE? Or does that apply?
It does apply. Same thing. Innovage and PACE can go back and capture funds that they would have been due because the person was eligible. Most PACE programs will not front the money, though. They just won't, by policy. No rule about that. They just have a policy that they will not accept someone until they have approval in hand.
Okay.
That's typical. Yeah.
And I think going back to Kim, what she said, that like while they're at home, try to get the Medicaid or work done while they're at home, and that will speed up the process for if they are private paid through spend down to Innovate or through PACE. I think that would
Right.
be the best way to go then, rather than like I would go blindly hoping that everything is going to work out. I will get everything back and that kind of
Right.
stuff.
And
Yeah.
so when people first come into your community to look at it, it's
Mhm.
because they're pretty close, but if we can go ahead and get the application in and done, they'll be at home during some of the penalty, it's very efficient. It's a very cash efficient way to transition. And we'll help stage that up. We would be working with the facility and the business office there on how this is all going to play out in timing and all of that. Right? So we're in step.
Next
Thank you.
question. Is it possible to have a client going to a adult day program while they're in assisted living, or is that considered double dipping? Because Medicare is paying for both. Yeah.
Double dipping.
Okay.
Medicaid will pay for the assisted living, but they won't also pay for home care or adult daycare. You've got to pick,
Okay.
because the activities that are being provided by adult daycare are also being
Right.
provided by a facility. So you can't double dip. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, that's a great partnership, right? I mean, you should all be partnering with non-medical companies so that as the client progresses and they need to go into assisted living, then, and if you were to work with somebody that is a certified Medicaid planner like us, right? Then you know what the game plan is. And so when they need to go into assisted living, everybody knows what's going to happen. Everyone knows financially what's going to happen. What other questions can we answer for you guys? There's a few people that joined on here that were not on earlier. If you want to, in the chat, put down what state you're from. Are you an owner of a facility, or are you in management? We, by the way, I'm going to repeat it, that we have been going over the rules and regulations and the guidelines for the state of Colorado. Okay. And it's a little bit different in different states. You can call our office and we can tell you, if you give us a city and a zip code, we can tell you who does what we do, similar to what we do in that state. This is a picture of Stacy's family. So even in Stacy's situation, when she was not in this industry, her parents, that's a picture of both of her mother and father. Both of their mothers, so Stacy's grandmothers, both needed long-term care. Everybody in the community told them they had to, quote, spend down. They lost their grandmother's home. You guys are going to run into people that they're losing everything that they have. And we have an answer for a way that you guys can still get paid, right? But the clients can be happy as well, because they're going to be able to preserve something for the next generation and do this with dignity, which is good. And it looks like, I'm going to say your name wrong again. Is it Save? Savi? You have your hand up. Do you have a question for us?
I was curious, do you exclusively do support with Medicaid eligibility for assisted living alone, or do you also just general eligibility?
Eligibility for home care, adult daycare, assisted living, memory care, or skilled nursing.
Okay,
All of them.
thank you.
Yes. I just want to share this as well. As the Director of Education, I do teach this class differently for people that are in the industry. I do 2 open classes a month for the state of Colorado. And so our industry partners can scan this and take our open class. If you're in the state of Colorado, you might want to take that class. Okay. You guys, I don't mind if you're in another state, you want to jump in and take my class, and that's fine. I just again know that I'm only going over the rules and regulations for the state of Colorado. And that's it for our slides, but I want to be able to answer any other questions that you guys have.
You mentioned home care. Medicare pays for home care? Non-medical?
In Colorado, it does. In some states, it does.
Not California.
California, not sure that it does.
I don't know. I don't think so. It pays for home health here. Well, I'm in San Diego, so I know home health care does, but yeah.
If it pays for home health care, then it does pay for home care, but
My name is Dennis
varies
Betancourt.
state by state. Yeah.
Can I step in? I'm talking to somebody right now. We have a conference in California coming up next week, July 6th to the 8th, RCFE conference. And there's somebody speaking on this whole subject, okay? California is going to have managed care starting, it's in a few places now, but it's going to be the whole state starting next year, okay, in 2024. So this is all going to be occurring in California.
Wow.
I'm just really
Awesome.
just becoming aware of it all.
Wow. Okay. Been a long time coming.
I would say check it on rcfeassociation.org if you want to get the where the conference is. It's in Orange County next week, July 6th to the 8th. We'd like to
Okay,
show up.
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
So you folks that are putting this on, you don't have direct contact people in California that you refer to or anything? This is all
You
just
can-
Colorado right now?
Well, it's Colorado, but you can go on a website. It's CMP board. Kim, if you'll put that in the chat, Certified Medicaid Planner, cmpboard.org, O-R-G.
Okay.
And you can search for a certified Medicaid planner by zip code in your area, but you'll give it a radius of miles around that zip code, and it'll serve you up every certified planner in your area.
For those
Okay,
of you that
great.
are in the state of Colorado, remember to open up that radius that Stacey is talking about. Because let's just say, for example, if you're in Denver, you'd want to open up that radius so that you can see Beneficent, because we cover the entire state of Colorado. Yeah. And yeah,
Mr. Harris, can you please give that conference information again for Orange County? I'm sorry, I didn't get my pen in time.
Oh, that's me. So
Yes.
it is rcfeassociation.org.
Okay, thank you.
And yeah, it's July 6th to the 10th, and you'll see all the information on that website.
all right. You guys have been awesome.
That was great. Every time I hear you guys, I pick up a little bit more. And it is pretty complex. It's
It is.
first time
Yeah.
around. And second time around, it's about right here. And now it's hit me right here. So it's
Yes.
So can I ask another question? Probably this is in
Yeah.
regard to the rates. I'm a private client, residential home. So I go with Innovage and TrueBase. And TrueBase really does really pay really well. And they can even meet me, my private pay, they can pay me whatever I ask for. And then again, it depends on the level of care that you give and how you present yourself. But why is it that Medicaid pays way small, and then these other like TrueBase and Innovage, they pay more, a little bit more?
Well, I'll tell you, you want me to explain it to you right quick?
Yeah, sure.
Medicaid pays
I was just
$7,000.
I
Let's
just been
just say.
listening to these people who are
Hi,
actually from
who's-
Colorado, but this is all
Hey,
about
Dennis, can
this
you mute yourself?
kind of this managed care.
Oh, there we go.
There
Go
we
ahead.
go. I wanted to hear what he was going to say.
I know.
So here's how it goes. Medicaid pays a flat amount. Let's say it's $7,000. I don't know exactly what it is. It's contracted, but $7,000. PACE is the program for all-inclusive care for the elderly. With that $7,000, they must manage assisted living and all their care. So PACE then contracts with the care facility. They're going to pay the care facility $4,000, whereas Medicaid, if they were paying the assisted living, they're only going to pay $27.43. Okay, it's a contract, and PACE got 7 because it doesn't matter.
I kind of feel like that's not fair, because we, the homeowners, assisted living homeowners, we do all the work, and we
Oh, I
do all the
know.
work, and we should be paid a little bit more than what they're paying now. And I kind of feel like it's not fair. And I'm sorry, you guys are not the right people to answer these questions, but I just thought that I would bring it out there. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's a lot of lobby activity around that.
Traffic laws, be alert and use voice commands while driving.
Assisted living and memory care really get the short end of the stick. Whereas if you're skilled nursing, you know, certainly you get more on a monthly basis from Medicaid. So for Washington State, I put some information in the chat. You can have a primary home, and the applicant must have an intent to return home and have equity of no more than 1,033,000. So the idea that in Washington State you have to sell your home when you go in a care community is untrue. They can have a home. They need to have an intent to return home, and it's a form that you fill out as part of the application.
Why you need to use a certified Medicaid planner.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I agree, Bren. Some of us, we didn't know what we were going, which way is upside down. And I think some of us were taken advantage by the family or by whoever. So we were just, blind leading blind, thinking that everything they said was okay. And it's sad. Yeah.
I will tell you, there are 4 states that require that you be an attorney in order to do Medicaid planning. We are not attorneys. We're not required in the state of Colorado to be an attorney. We have an affiliate in Texas, and our affiliate is an attorney, so that the requirements are met in each state as far as assisting people to get benefits in hand. So 4 states require that you are an attorney in order to assist families in gaining qualification. So I'm going to look back through the chat real quick. I think our time is up, but I just want to make sure if you've got some questions. California, we got you. Somebody, Arlington, Texas. Arlington, if you want to reach out to me, I'll give you our contact that's there in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and might be somebody you would want to connect with. In Arizona, again, CMP board, they'll get you who you need. An empty home, looking to get into a residential home. So if you're looking to convert into a residential home, and I know that those exist in Arizona, and I would reach out to Vern on strategy to do that.
Okay, I just also put our info at doinggoodfothers.com as our email address, and then also put in our website. Okay.
Just for those of you that maybe are not as familiar with Zoom, if you want to download this chat, then in the little box where you would type the message, down at the bottom of that, you see a smiley face. To the right of that smiley face is 3 little dots. You click on those dots, it'll pull up a menu, and on that menu, you can see Save Chat, and it will save it as a text file. So you will have all the information that has been typed into that chat from tonight's meeting. If we don't have any more questions, we're going to go ahead and wrap
How would
up.
I do that on a phone?
You are not going to be able to do it on a phone, but if whoever is recording the meeting, if you will open up the chat and scan through it, that'll be on the recording.
That's an interesting idea. So do you share the screen to do that?
Yes, if you share the screen and you pull the chat up and you scroll through, that will be what is seen on the video.
I don't want to fight for her anymore. I don't want to get any fights, but I need to schedule today.
I don't think that's meant for us.
No.
Okay.
All right. Anybody,
All
any
right.
other questions? I want to thank you guys for taking the time and hanging out with us tonight in the evening. It's late. You obviously care very much about your clients and their well-being, so we appreciate that. And yeah, let us know if you have any questions. If you're in the state of Colorado, if you wanted to take that class that I was referring to, you can also go under our website, go to the educational classes, and then you can see when I do the open classes. I'm doing one tomorrow as well at noon Mountain Standard Time.
Terrific. Kim, did you
Excellent.
put information on that in the chat by any chance?
Actually, I saved the chat. If you want, I can go ahead and I'm going to open it up and I will do what Stacy was suggesting.
Yeah, if you could.
I could do that. No problem.
Yeah.
Let me go scroll all the way to the top here. Sorry, all the way to the top. Okay, so this is from the top. And then I'll just scroll down and people will have this. You can also take your phone and take a picture of that if you'd like.
That's
We
what
see
I
your,
did.
your background, but we're not seeing, or I'm not seeing it. Is anybody else?
Do you see it, Stacy?
No, I just see your background.
Really? Okay, stop sharing. Okay, let me try it again. Share. Do you see it now? No, you
Nope.
just see the background. That's
Nope.
weird.
Huh.
Oh, I guess it's not working, Stacy.
I don't know. Let me let's
Stop.
look. I don't want to belabor this, but let me try it. Just let me see.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Is usually the queen of and has the answer. So
All right. Let's see. Do y'all see the chat?
yes.
Yes.
All right, here we go. We'll just do a little quick run since it's being recorded. You've got everyone's contact in there. Here we go. And y'all can see some of these are messages that people sent just directly to me that I answered. There's the information on Washington. And we're almost there. That's it.
Thank you, Stacy.
That's great.
All right.
Okay, does anybody have any haves or wants they want to express to the group before we close up? All right. Then we will wrap it up. Kim and Stacy, thank you very much.
You are
That was
welcome.
Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much.
Good,
Thank
That was
you.
informative
helpful.
presentation.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Thanks
Goodbye.
everybody for attending this evening, and we will see you next month.